10 years since Sandy. It was probably the most destructive tropical system to impact us since Hurricane Carol in 1954.
By far the worst I experienced in my 35 years.
A decade has passed since Superstorm Sandy hit the East Coast.
There was washing machines, hot water heaters, furnaces, furniture. I mean, it was just debris everywhere.
Westerly Town Manager Sean Lacey was a captain with the Westerly Police Department during Sandy.
Actually, it was during the nighttime most of it hit, so our assessment was in the morning once the storm passed.
The storm surge went 2 blocks inland through the Mesquamaket section of Westerly, impacting 500 buildings.
I can remember the tide never went out.
Ocean Drive in Newport had boulders thrown up onto the road. The Coast Guard House restaurant in Narragansett was badly damaged.
We have a mess to clean up. Nobody was injured. That's the most important thing.
Houses were leveled in Matunic and Charlestown.
There used to be a road that went in front of it, and then you could park straight in, and then you had a beach. The beach is gone, the parking's gone, the road's gone.
But Westerly bore the brunt of Superstorm Sandy in Rhode Island.
That was the most significant impact of the storm, since probably 54 maybe.
All this damage, and Sandy did not give us a direct hit.
Storms are at that latitude.
12 News Chief Meteorologist Tony Petrarca said the storm took a very unusual path.
Almost hairpin turn west towards the mid-Atlantic. Research has shown that that's happened maybe, like once every couple of hundred years. It's just highly unusual, that path.
We always learn from our natural disasters, and we hope to always do better if there is another storm, and we know not if but when.
Amy Grabowski, director of the Westerly EMA, said they've implemented more planning practices since Sandy, but the real change going forward will be what happens after a storm passes.
After Superstorm Sandy, when we evacuated Mesquamaket section of Westerly, in order to get people to re-enter and check their homes and start to rebuild, it was a little more complicated without a pass system.
Lacey agrees.
We learned a lot as far as what we're going to do as far as security measures.
We called and said that we could come down and walk down there, but now they're not allowing us down there.
With roads impassable, people try to swim, boat, or even paddleboard in to get to their homes. To make things more orderly after an evacuation, more security checkpoints will be created, and residents will need their re-entry pass, which was sent with their tax bills.
I don't think it's really easy to realize what storm surge looks like and what it'll feel like until you've experienced yourself.
Mike Jarbo is the Narragansett Baykeeper with Save the Bay and spoke to us on Westerly Town Beach about Sandy.
Building that we're standing right next to right now is actually moved back over 30 feet in response to damage and the erosion and the effects of the storm. Sandy wiped out a lot of the permanent structures on this long beach here.
They seem to take the most damage, those businesses in Mesquamaket. We were here in Irene, and they got hit then. This is significantly worse.
It tore up a lot of the dunes that are in place, so they're still working to rebuild themselves now with the reinstallation of different grasses on the dunes.
The sand from the dunes and from this strip of beach ended up on the roads. Lacey said you could see the ocean from the road. You're not supposed to.
There was literally 8 feet of sand in Atlantic Avenue, which was the main thoroughfare along the ocean, to the point you had stop signs, the tip of the stop sign sticking out of the sand, so the entire, absolutely amazing that amount of sand can be washed into the roadway in that short a period of time.
That sand was eventually used to shore up the dunes with new dune grass planted to strengthen the dunes.
They do protect it from our general storms, nor'easters, any type of storms we've had in the last 10 years.
But these dunes can only do so much with the ferocity of a hurricane.
A different storm could impact multiple communities where we're making a more statewide response.
I would hope that Sandy taught people who live and work in this area just how vulnerable these south-facing beaches are. This environment, it's subject to wave and storm energy on a daily basis, but when a storm like that comes through, there's really nothing that can be done to stop it. And that's when we have to start talking about the term resilience. What can towns, cities, homeowners, and others do to help recover when an event like that happens, because you're really not going to be able to stop it. You can't build a seawall to prevent something like 10 plus feet of storm surge from coming over the beach, from affecting your property. So it's really talk of vulnerability, what can be done to limit the damage, and what can then be done to bring things back in a way that people can still use this area and still enjoy it in the way that they love to.